got the last panel here.
Okay, we'll call the February 19th, 2020 Barnes County North School Board meeting to order. Recognize our teachers that are here tonight. And Mr. Severson and some thank yous.
Yeah, just congratulations to our the Bison Advance team. They won a state championship in hip hop, and then to Jason Rudolph for receiving the state class B dance scholarship. And then the girls basketball, they're gonna finish up their season, and then the boys basketball. And I believe we play Oaks.
4:30 Oaks, yeah. We're the 5 seed.
We're 5 seed, so we'll play Oaks next Friday night. Is that correct?
Yep.
So, other than that, congratulations, good luck to them, good luck to the boys.
Thank you. Agenda, anything to add that you have? Mr. Severson?
No.
I've got a new business under F. We want to talk about 403Bs. There's some changes coming there. Need a motion to approve the agenda with that one addition.
I'll make a motion.
Brett, second by Chad. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Then consent agenda, if anybody has any questions on minutes, bills, or financial report?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second to that? By Rob. That's a roll call.
Rob?
Yes.
Chad?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Cindy? Yes. Lori?
Yep.
Frank?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
I'm already impressed by our business manager.
I practice every night at Friday.
And she's got them wrote down too, I saw it.
Okay, committee reports, president's report, I have none. Career and tech, I've got a little longer one tonight, so I usually type it so you can have something when I'm done. We've had a lot of things the last month or so, so I'll just hit some of them. We've had 5 applicants for the career counselor position in Valley City, which we hold the contract for, so we're gonna finish interviews end of this week. We're start 21st to the end of those interviews for that job. Last meetings or so, we discussed the school calendar. We have not approved one at the vocational. We got everybody's calendar there to look at. Some of our discussion led on how we can try to line up the staff professional developments so it doesn't negatively impact the student learning at the center as often as it otherwise could. It's really tough down there to try to get any professional development with 4 outlying schools that all run on total different schedules. Because no matter what we do, we got somebody at the vocational all the time. One school is there. So we're trying to work on how we can work better with the member schools there. We also talked about parent-teacher conferences. The center comes out to the participating schools for one conference, and then they hold one at the vocational center. We had a real small turnout this year. Part of it because we didn't have anybody from BCN, and I think that is because we switched our conferences and it wasn't on anybody's radar to go when we switched ours to later. So we also talked about change to our conferences at the vocational center, and we haven't decided, but it's in discussion, so we want to see what some of the schools think. It seems to us to be more beneficial to the staff down there to have a professional development day during that time, and then have the staff there send out some summary to each one of those students' parents of what's going on. And then, but we still would have it open, so if I wanted to go see my student there, we would break that teacher out of professional development for a little bit to make that visit. But we're thinking it's more beneficial to have a professional development day for them that time instead of that conference that we're not getting a lot of participation at the center. So we're looking at that. We did another couple meetings with the Barnes County Development Corporation. I did tag on that I've met with them, to Mr. Severson, Mr. Wilson, and Mrs. Bossy. They've got that rush grant, and we're trying to find I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you just praised Lindsay for knowing all your names.
Yep, and I just blew it. They got this rush grant. They're trying to find ways they can do that and tie it to schools or what we can apply for. So they all want to try to see how they can improve the center to work for more workplace placement. That's what tying with the Development Corporation, because that's what this grant is really tied to. long story short, what would affect us? From that meeting, we've applied to allow to purchase a Wi-Fi system for buses that would bring students to the center, as well as covering the cost of each student taking one class per semester through the NDCDE. We're hoping this would reduce scheduling conflicts and hopefully allow more students the opportunity to come in and take classes at the center. So what we're applying for is to be able to at least Wi-Fi every rural school coming in there with Wi-Fi onto that bus, so they could possibly take some classes during that windshield time. Go to the house project. The students made the trim, did all the staining, the cabinets we delivered up there today. The thought is to complete the trim, install the doors, and hopefully get the cabinets installed before potential buyers and appraisers come to look at the house for potential purchase. Then we'll advertise for sealed bids. We went through the whole process, how we're going to do that bid process and how we're going to advertise. We're going to ask each school if it's possible to hang some flyers, and also to be able to, since we've got some students in these classes, to run that on our website and try to get it out for more people could be interested in purchasing that house. So the last few meetings we've talked class schedules. These are the new class schedules if anybody wants to look at later. But we took input from students. We went in and talked to them on what they'd like to see. So, and I think, JR, you've got them, and the counselors have kind of got this new schedule now. So it should have gone out to the career counselors and the principals. This year we're not offering, just to hail that up, we're not going to offer Cisco because the students want more of a computer hardware and operation system class. So we're going to replace that instead of Cisco. The Ag program, which is the biggest change that we're looking to do. Everybody from the surveys and visiting with everybody wanted more options in Ag. So we're going to move more to 1 hour blocks because we can do a lot of these online, ITV, or even get some high school students in Valley could come up for 1 hour. For our block, so where are we at here? First semester for our block, which is block 3 down there, we're going to have livestock production and vet science would be in our block for first semester next year. Second semester would be equine science and horticulture. So that's what would be in our block next year. We also looked with trying to, because when Mr. Bope was out at the back to school night, he had many of the patrons here come up and ask him how he'd get involved in FFA. So we've been trying to work with the rural schools on how to do something to get an intro to Ag. So Mr. Fritz is going to offer an intro to Ag for students 8 through 12. It would be an online. But we're trying to see if there's a way that if they do these online classes, we'll be able to get the majority of them to take it at the same time during the day, because then we could have Mr. Fritz come out and do some group projects and some things that they can tie with a group if we could get some of these guys working ideally at the same time during the day. And I got in there what Mr. Bope Derek said, taking this class will allow students to join FFA, which is one of the things BCN patrons had requested when he came out for back to school night. So that was one of the things that was requested when he was out here at back to school night, get into FFA.
So can I ask a question?
Yep.
So when you're talking the online course, is that an added charge to BCN, or is that just going to be part of what we already paid to Career Tech?
From what we're trying to do is it would try to be what we're paying right now. We're
Okay.
working on, that's what part of the process we're there, but that's what we're trying to offer.
Okay.
Because it's going to be run through him at the center. It's not going to go out. We're not getting it from
Okay,
somewhere
I
else.
get
We're
you.
going to,
Okay.
Fritz is going to run that course.
Okay, gotcha.
Other thing, when Derek was out here back to school night, we talked to Mrs. Heinze and what would be more, what she could use in FACTS, because it ties to the CTE, and we can use some of our emerging tech dollars. So she mentioned embroidery machines. So we, with the emerging tech dollars, we spent $35,582. We bought 2 commercial embroidery machines, which are 15 head colors, 15 head heads, so she can run 15 colors at once is what she was interested in. They have curriculum and 12 laptops to use with them. when we get them, we'll put on a training for anyone who is interested in using them. We're shooting towards fax teachers, also art and crafts, the business DECA, which then you could use it to do your own clothing for resale. So we're looking at, we got 2, so who needs them, we can maybe have them longer than some other people. And the other thing that's gonna come out too, and I don't know when it comes out, to Mr., maybe Mr. Severson, or who's getting, you're gonna get a survey for a needs assessment for Perkins $5. And where some of the career and tech places are worried that some of the schools aren't gonna fill that out because all the Perkins $5 goes to our consortium to buy this type of stuff, but we do need to make sure we get that filled out so we can get the needs assessment of what they can spend some of that dollars on. Like I said, we've had a long couple meetings, and if anybody wants to see the whole class schedule, I brought that here from what we've set in place for next year. But for yours, Jer, when we talked, it's going to be an online class for that intro to ag. Anybody got any questions on vocation? Okay, budget and finance, we haven't met this.
No, just, we'll eventually have to set a date after we go over the strategic plan. He just
Okay.
sent a copy back, so we'll have to look through that, and I'll meet with the principals and go through that, and that'll be the same with the building and
Same with
grounds.
building and grounds?
Yep.
Mrs. Bitts, you have any technology report?
I do, yes. We started the installation of the active panels. Bud is my hero. We hung the first one yesterday in the tech ed room, and I made sure right away this morning it was still on the wall. So we're good. So we have a trainer coming out from Promethean on March 10th and April 28th, and we're going to do a train the trainer type of model. Since we have somebody coming on site to train us, we're going to have Ms. Schweitzer and Mrs. Tweet, Mrs. McGee, Mr. Hans, and Mrs. Undham and myself will go through the 2 full day training, and then we'll turn around and do a train the trainer model. But I've been messing around with the new one, and the teachers are gonna love it. It's pretty awesome. We had our February family engineering night, and we had 14 students. The next one is March 16th, so we kind of hover around that range of upper teens to around 20 students. It stays pretty steady. We're gonna be getting geared up for testing. I believe that'll be, and Mrs. Bussey or Mr. Wilson can correct me, but I think our state testing is gonna be end of March, early April. So we've got quite a task ahead of us because there's a new browser that needs to be set up for that state testing. And then Bud and I have spent a lot of time recently. We've been having some issues with our fire panel here and getting called every night by the monitoring company. So we recently had ABI come out and do a training for us, and they did that free of charge for us. So Bud and I went around and learned even more about the building that we didn't already know. So hopefully we have a handle on the fire panel.
Did they quit calling you every night?
They did. So we think we have it down, but yeah. Any questions? I'll keep it short because Rob told me that he has not missed me the last meetings because I talked too much.
Subtle, Ron.
But I guess
I even tried to have my phone ring.
the meeting, I thought the cameras were full, so I would get on them.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Severson, AD report?
Just the final boys basketball game is Friday night with Sergeant Central, will be senior night. And then next year's boys schedule is completed, and a couple games left to girls to schedule, and I'm done with that.
Bussey, pre-K 6 principal report.
I want to thank the elementary MTSS team. It's Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Almond, Ms. Pratt, Mrs. Millen, Mrs. Anderson. They attended 5 days of MTSS training, which isn't always easy to plan for subs. But we're ready to roll it out next year, and we have it on the schedule to meet every third Wednesday of the month to analyze data and then work on our math pathway. So we have ELA ready to roll out. Math will start next year. I want to thank Mrs. Bryn, who spent her whole Valentine's Day with me working on the comprehensive literacy grant. We just, with Stacy's help tonight, figured out some final numbers. We literally laid everything out like our dream. If we could ask for anything, what would it be? And our percentages were almost right on, and we would be asking for $450,000. So, and we're just hoping to get a chunk of something. They have 48 million to disperse. So throughout that, I mean, we figured out lots of numbers, but I think the most surprising one that I wanted to share with you guys is out of the new students that came into Barnes County North, 56% of them were disadvantaged students. So they were on IEPs, 504s, free and reduced lunch meals, or what is the last one that I'm trying to think of? There's another one, but 56%, and then 3 of those kids were mine. So if you even take away that, what our percentage would be, because who we get from Valley City and Jamestown typically have needs of some kind. So that was super eye-opening. Mr. Severson approved the cost of some Bison Pride postcards. This is something the teachers asked for at a late start. It looks purple. I mean, I'm a principal, not a graphic art designer, but I designed these. I ordered 50. There's only a few left, so it's really cool just to write messages to our students. I gave them some ideas over email. It has our vision. So probably if teachers want to continue that, I think it's a low cost to reach out and build those relationships with our students.
Is that our new vision?
It's our new vision
The new one?
from our strategic plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, so it is our new vision. I just updated house points, and I want to give a huge shout out to the elementary teachers, because to me numbers mean a lot. So since we started January 13th, 1,759 points have been given. So that means that 1,759 times we've called out a student for doing something positive in our school, whether it be dressing up, showing school spirit, picking up garbage. Those connections have been made with them, so that's amazing. That's all I have.
Any questions? Thank
No, that's okay. I'm like, I had to think
Mr.
about
Wilson,
it.
712.
February 13th, we had Ryan Stream come out and speak to the students and staff. He was very good. I went around and talked to all the students in the classrooms afterwards, and then the teachers during their lunch or whatnot. And pretty much most of the students are in agreement that he's the best one that we've had or taken our students to. So he was quite impressionistic on our students during that time. So he was really good. He was out of Utah, and I put it together real quick because I received an email from him letting me know that he was going to be at Griggs County, and if we would like to have him stop by our school. So I did some research on him, and I met with Zaf at the leadership meeting. Was it, or was it the admin meeting? One of those two, to see if this was somebody that we wanted to have come and speak to the students, and everybody was in agreement, so I went ahead with that.
Must have been leadership, because I don't remember that.
Yeah. So that was good. On February 26th, we're gonna have a UJ signing ceremony for Tristan Olson here at BCN. They're gonna sign him so he can play basketball there. March 3rd is the ACT test for our juniors, and I just spoke with Mrs. Undum today, and she had talked to Mr. Hance and Mr. Schaefer. We don't have enough calculators that are required to do that, so we gotta purchase some to get those right away. And since Mr. Schaefer and Mr. Hance usually share those back and forth, I just said we just need to order some so he has enough for himself, Mr. Schaefer has enough for himself, so that they don't have to share back and forth on that.
Can I interrupt there?
Yeah.
We'll probably hold off on that, and I'll probably request something at the end of the school year. I think we'll be okay with what we have with the students that know how to use the scientific, or the graphing calculator. Because there'll be some students that they'll use a graphing calculator, but they're just using it just as a regular calculator. So I think we can get by with what we have right now. So I think I can scrounge up about 23 or 24, and that leaves us with about 3 or 4 calculators that we might need, but I think we're gonna be okay for the ACT test
Okay.
for now. I will probably request, because the graphing calculators, they range from 120 to 180. And the ones that I would actually want, they're a little bit more pricier. They're about $450.
You want those $9.99 ones, don't you?
I want the TI Inspire ones.
Okay. March 9th, taking the 7th and 8th graders to the Tech Savvy STEMtastic event in Jamestown at the university there. And then we got a couple more events later on in the school year that we'll be taking 7th and 8th graders to as well, just to get them some career aspirations and ideas. So going forward, they can have a good idea of maybe possible interest areas that they could pursue.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Wilson?
I know,
No.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
said go home.
Thank you. Mr. Severson, anything else?
Nothing really, I'll be gone tomorrow and Friday, and then next
Save
Thursday.
it for me better.
And I'll be back in full-time after that.
Okay. Full business negotiation seminar?
The only one I've got, the one is the dazed hours that we went to, and you know, the discussion on what we want to do, and I think that can come up with our calendar discussion too, with, you know, how we want to handle some of those
Okay.
issues.
Okay.
And you and Brett were also there, and
Yeah, I guess the only thing that really come out is they changed, or they had the days, but they never changed all the other requirements.
Yeah.
Went to the hours, but they still required the same amount of hours, contract days, and everything else. And like I say, we talked about that with calendar.
Yep.
Sick league bank proposal, I know you guys all got that, we got it about the end of this January. And we didn't get back with the teachers at all since that time. So the question Mr. Severson sent out to us is, you guys all thought we should relook at it a little bit, to have some more discussion on it. So the question was, do we want to send it to the policy committee or the negotiations committee? Because I don't know if we want to vote on this right now without sending it back, unless somebody wants to vote on their proposal. But that's what's in front of us, the proposal that we got at the end of January. If somebody wants to vote on that, or we table that, or where we want to go with the proposal that the teacher sent us. You all got a copy of that in the January. So I guess where we want to go with that is either we vote on or table this, or we vote on it, yes or no, or we table it and send it back to one of the committees. I guess that's where we're at with it right now.
I make a motion to table it.
To table it right now? Okay. Is there a second to tabling it for right now?
I'll second.
Cindy? Any other discussion on tabling it? If not, that'd be roll call.
Rob,
Yes.
Chad,
Yeah.
Lee,
Yeah.
Cindy,
Yes.
Lori,
Yep.
Brent,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Brett.
Okay, so then the question is, what group wants to relook at this? If they're calling it a policy, it's a policy, or do you want to send it to negotiation, or what group do you want to take a look at that?
Can I ask a question first?
Yep.
So, you guys as the negotiating committee didn't look at what was sent out to us? You guys didn't?
Yeah, we all got that.
No, but you didn't meet?
As a group, no,
Okay.
no,
not after the first time.
not after the
Okay.
first time, no. We have nobody's met on this since it's sent out to all of us. Nobody's met on that. So what I got back was we'd like to relook at, but what committee
Does it?
you want to look at it?
It goes, basically, it goes into policy then. So it's not really a negotiable item, so it almost has to go to policy committee, wouldn't it?
I think it would go to policy, if that's what it is. Yeah. That's my thought.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I think we should send it back to them then. Get cracking on this thing.
So do we need a motion or just consensus to send the policy, and we'd set up a meeting for that?
Yeah, I would say a consensus to send it back. and
The
see
consensus of the group to send it to policy? Okay,
Because, I don't know, if
Consensus
Mr.
by
Schaefer,
motion or whatever it
I know if
takes.
Mr. Schaefer wants to speak on it, being he's kind of been the director for the teachers. I don't know if you want to get any input from him, or if you just
anything you
want
want to add, Stacy, before we send it back, or?
No, yeah, I just, the biggest thing what we are looking for is direction of where you guys are going with it.
Okay.
We've given, this is our second proposal now, you guys have given us advice on where you guys are at with it. We met, discussed, we changed a few things on that. According to what you guys were kind of looking at, you wanted the max, you wanted it capped off at a max. We knew that. And I think that was pretty much the biggest thing, and then also the reimbursement days of teachers who are leaving.
Yeah, I think the
was
two
another
biggest
thing
things.
that you guys were talking about too.
Yeah.
So our committee has been working on this diligently. We just want to know where you guys are going with it,
Okay.
with what we're proposing.
Okay.
Is where we're at.
Okay. Any questions, anything else? So you want to get together with,
policy.
the only one that isn't here is right now is Michelle.
Yeah, so let's see, who's on policy? Chad?
Yeah, myself,
Cindy, Lori,
Michelle, and Lori.
Okay.
You have me for another week until they'll be gone for a month.
You'll be gone for a month?
Guys available next week?
I'm not, I'm in Georgia.
When are you gone?
I'm taking off Friday morning for Georgia
And you're gone for a
for
week?
15 days.
Okay.
Can't we count on you for
I'm
anything?
at a convention, I'm a delegate.
I'm in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and then not till,
Could we work, at least get three of you together, or what's your guys' thought on that committee?
Well, if we can get three of us, that's fine.
So when are you going to?
I leave next Saturday, 29th.
For a month?
Well, until the 19th of March, so 20-some days, 23 days.
Do you know when Michelle is back? I guess I know.
She's back tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I knew it was close here, so, okay.
any Monday or Tuesday work? If Wednesday, I probably wouldn't be available. Monday or Tuesday work for you two?
For next week?
Yep.
I could
The
do
24th, 25th?
either one.
Okay.
What time are you?
I can in the afternoon.
Like,
I mean, after 1.
okay. I can talk to, either day you can go after 1?
Yeah.
Okay. What time would, and we can give Michelle a couple options on, so you're okay evening too then? Anytime after 1? Okay.
And I'm pretty flexible. I could probably make anything work.
Okay, either one of those 2 days? Okay, and then I'll get ahold of Michelle and see which one works, and I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Got it.
We'll move on or something, Stacy.
Is that now?
We'll move on it, try to get together.
Okay, so now, when you bring it to the policy committee, is it a recommendation to approve or disapprove the proposal, or are you recommending to the sick bank committee on where you guys would like to see this policy go? I guess would be my question too, because now we have to wait another month if you want to disapprove or approve this policy.
We
So
wouldn't
next
look to
board meeting.
approve it till next month, probably.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So there might be, as they look at it, you might have maybe more than one. I mean, I don't know what you come up with. There might be another, something from these guys to you or back and forth. There might be something like that, but we wouldn't look at it till next month.
Right.
Yeah.
So they would contact us then, if they have any.
Once they go through something,
suggestions or
once they've
advice
gone
on where-
through something, they'll make some contact with you. Yes.
All right.
Yep. Okay. Strategic plan update, you said you
And
got.
that, yeah, that we got it, but I haven't met with principals yet. We'll do that probably next Monday morning. And
Okay.
then when we have our admin meeting, we can go through it.
Okay,
What's that? Okay, maybe Tuesday morning then.
okay.
Okay, new business superintendent evaluation. I will send out again, does anybody want it in paper form? I will send it that way to you instead of
Give that
online.
a try.
Huh?
You can give that
I'll
a
do
try.
either way you want.
Doesn't,
When does that have to be?
Then I'll like it back about the first week of March, because I got 2 to get ready by our board meeting. Towards the end of the first week of March.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Because the board meeting is March 11th.
Yeah.
And you won't be here?
I will not be.
Will you be here on March 11th, Lori?
Yeah, sure.
Well, if you
Yes,
said you're
yes, I
gone
will be.
15
I'm
days,
full that day.
will you be,
Why, the 11th is, okay, that seems early.
It
It
is.
is.
It is early.
Well, that would explain why it seems that way. I'll take it off this day then.
We moved it because we gotta have it approved by the
Evaluation.
15th, and otherwise the third
I
week we've
get
been
it.
late. Yes.
So,
or we'd have to have a special meeting?
Or a special meeting.
yes, I will be here.
It's 19 days.
If I could get it back by at least like the 6th or 7th of March, give me a couple days to put it together.
Do you have a paper copy?
I will get one.
Because in case Jake isn't home one of them weekends.
I'll
I
print
won't
one up
get
for
it
you,
done
Rob.
on the computer. Okay.
Okay. Next is calendar discussion.
And I sent you two options. The first one, they're starting earlier, would be that week before, that we would normally start, the week before the Kern Tech in Valley City, and I believe Hope Page, and that's start the 17th. We would go those 17th, 18th, or 17th is a professional day, first day of school 18th, have a week of school, have our professional day with Valley City on the 24th, and then start again back in on the 25th. And then that gets us out on Thursday, May 20th, and then would have the end of the first semester at Christmas break, and the end of the second semester on May 20th, graduation the week before Memorial Day. And the second one starts August 24th and pretty much mirrors CTE schedule, Valley City schedule, and Hope Page schedule. I think Oaks is the same way as well. So I don't know, did principals, you guys have a chance to talk to any of the staff members about it?
I did,
Okay.
yes. I met with the staff to go over the 2 schedules, and they virtually, it was 10 to 3 wanted the first draft where we ended the semester at Christmas break. They wanted that one. It makes sense as well too, because it aligns with any dual credit courses that our kids are gonna be taking or we're gonna be offering, that it ends at that semester break. That's when all colleges end their calendars for the semester, so it works out when considering that as well.
Do parents like that early of a start? August 18th, is that like, it seems like you still have a couple of weeks of summer.
3 days before normal.
I know.
I did not ask my staff, but I did hear they enjoyed the 4-day break in February, and both of them have that, so
So that might, okay.
it doesn't really affect us as
Actually,
far.
I can back you. You actually did talk to me about it one day in your office. So you did talk to me. You talked to one.
The only thing I see as an advantage
I didn't
is
take notes.
graduation isn't competing with every other graduation.
Yes.
Yes, I like that because I've got 2 graduations that are coming up
Yep,
on the line, and the way that it currently is, I can't make both,
right.
you know, so, and I would like to be at both, but, you know, I don't think my daughters would
I guess
approve of me missing that graduation.
I would assume it doesn't affect us as much as like an elementary teacher with grades due that week after, like it does high school. Like he's constantly sending out missing assignments, and I don't think elementary experiences that, but
Draft 1
So
is
it's
the
draft
one
one.
that the teachers like.
I personally like the draft one myself,
Which one?
but the number 1.
I like the graduation doesn't end on Memorial
Well,
Day.
I know as a high school teacher, I always thought it was ridiculous to come back after break and have a week to, you know, either just bank up your second semester stuff or try to
Yeah.
cram whatever's left.
Yeah.
Well, because the other thing that I see too is, as we get to that Christmas break, there's a lot of teachers that are already accounting for the next quarter.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I think that would help eliminate that.
Not to mention, it gives them a chance for those teachers that switch to a whole new class, like psychology, sociology.
Plan.
You know, they can plan over that Christmas break too and get ready. My wife will hate it, but I like it.
Yeah.
I think I like number 1 also.
I think as long as I don't have to go back, I'm good.
Sooner they get out of my hair, yeah, sit back.
So if you're tying with other ones, the only scenario in that is you haven't got VOTEC for not starting till a week later.
Yep.
So it's how much classing you want to lose there through the year.
Yep, so you
'Cause
lose
you're gonna
5 days.
You're
right
gonna take
away.
days off in February that you lose. We haven't developed our vocational one either, but I'm just trying to look at some things we're losing in the early.
How about?
All the other schools have got one that's more starting at 24th, other than Maple Valley. We've got Valley Cities, Litchville's. Yeah, because we looked at all the schedules and trying to tie some together. You got some thoughts on the vocational group with that early
That would,
start?
I think most of it mirrors, except for the, first few days, the first 5 days, and then the end.
And the
You know,
end.
we'd be out Thursday the 20th, and I think they're getting out either Wednesday or Thursday of the next week.
Right, so we're losing that many days.
Yep, so you'd lose probably 5, right, it's because you'd have 4, 5 before they start.
So we still gotta hit them hours. I mean, I'm saying, you
Yep.
know, we're losing that many days right off in our schedule to vocation.
Well, then let's not graduate on the 23rd and just extend the year to, for another week.
We haven't adopted ours yet, but that's some of the issues that's gonna come up that's why we didn't last month. We wanted to see where everybody was
And
at.
you can, I mean, we don't have to approve it tonight. I mean, it's just, we can just look at it and see what we think and maybe have some discussion with.
VOTEC on our schedule is
VOTEC.
not started to the 26th.
They'll do the, VOTEC would do the second draft. That's the one that, I think that's pretty much the one I got from Derek, and that's the one I got from Josh too. I think it pretty
Is
much
that the
mirrors.
Litchfield and all them kind of
Yeah.
mirror that one?
So the
Yep.
kids would still go the same amount of days to the VOTEC. That won't change. It's just us finding something for them to do for.
No, we wouldn't be going at the end. And we're gonna be, the first days that we're going, there won't be VOTEC. So we're on both ends.
So our kids are gonna lose some days. That's happened in the past, hasn't it? How's that been
Unless
dealt
they
with?
wanna commit to vote.
We haven't lost that many. That's why we try to get one so we still get our hours in at VOTEC. That's why we try to match the schedule that, we try to bring all of them together so they have about the same amount of missed days and still get our hours in. Because we did run up that a few years ago with getting our hours. Remember, that's part of the reason we switched our time going in and we weren't getting the hours.
Yeah, and it was something, I mean, our calendars weren't
Yeah.
close either. We were
Right.
way off on our calendars,
Yeah.
different days.
And that's why we didn't adopt anything. That's why we send it back, get some input from the other schools.
And we can get a hold of VOTEC too and just find out what that actually means for our kids and what we'd have to do differently if we were looking seriously at number 1. We can find out and bring it back next meeting.
So we'll showing all the stuff in the off days and everything other than just this. We'll have a calendar like this.
Yep, yeah, I didn't put that together because
Because we're gonna need professional development days in and all the early out, so we're gonna schedule some of them.
yeah, we've got those, yeah, those would be just late starts is what we're doing.
Okay.
Is it late starts or early outs we doing?
Late starts.
Okay.
But
Well,
we've
we're
also been
waiting
talking about.
Till we figured out which
Yeah.
one of these. that
Yeah, we're gonna have
go
4 of
by
them again.
to
We're gonna
schedule.
have more of a like this to approve when we're
Yes,
done. Yeah,
yes.
that's where I was going, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll have 4 late starts then. I think that's what we decided, right? Wasn't it 4? Was it 4 we decided on? I think so.
We're still in discussion about it too, because we've talked about, rotating half of the high school, because we're kind of at different points on where we're working now. So we want to split elementary and high school up. That's a discussion still. 4 days. Let's plan for 4 days.
Okay. What else
And
do we need?
that wouldn't affect the VOTEC at all, because those are all late starts, so we'd still be going to VOTEC on those days.
Correct. That's what we're trying to come up with a day down there that we can get a PD day. So yes, it does. That's what they're trying to get everybody, so there would be a day that they can free up.
And see, once our schedule, I mean.
Because any of the days that we're using as PD, where late starts, we're going in, so we still got to.
Yeah, the only difference, I guess, the only difference between 1 and 2 is just that the starting date and the ending date. The rest of it is all pretty much, mirrored to what they're doing during the year.
Right.
So
It
just
is,
be the
yeah.
early start and early, early out.
Yeah, because all the other ones have kind of put on the same days for early outs and that type of stuff. Yeah.
Well, they got Saturdays.
Is that?
They got Saturdays.
Oh, you're gonna send yours on Saturday?
PE days.
Mr. Severson,
Yes.
on draft 1, we have first day of school is August 18th, but then August 24th, your professional development day.
That's the day we all go to Valley City. That's we bring in all the
So
school
there'd be no
districts.
kids here that day.
Yeah, we wouldn't have school.
That was the question,
Yep.
is just because that's Valley City's,
That's the one we go down there every year. So instead of doing 2 right away, the 17th and 18th, if we were doing, instead of 17th and 18th, we'll do the 17th and the 24th. So we'll have 2 4-day weeks to start the school year.
It's a good opportunity for our teachers to collaborate with.
No, I totally agree with the professional development. Don't get me wrong on that. It's just trying to get them into a routine, and then all of a sudden you start.
Who doesn't love a 4-day week? Twice.
Well, yeah. Tell my wife that, she goes, "Well, why don't you start 4 days later then?"
Then you could tell her as a
I'm
high
not
school
gonna tell her.
teacher.
You can tell her.
So what else do we need to discuss for you to develop the calendar, Mr. Seaver?
I'll just put both of them together. We'll discuss with CT what that entails and what we have to do in order to be in compliance.
And we can probably back up. That's what I say, we'll probably look at these and see what we can adjust on our end.
And I know, I believe Maple Valley
Maple
approved
Valley's with
theirs.
the early one.
And they're with 1. I think theirs is actually approved
That was the
already.
discussion there. They were the only ones, because Dustin said, okay, I'm the lone dog out right now.
Yeah, because they actually approved that.
Yes.
I think, so they're starting that day. Theirs is just, I'm not sure if theirs is a little different, but they've got, I think they're going 2 professional development days, and then 3 days, and then the Monday off, and then 4 days, I think is what they're doing.
Yeah, because I was gonna call and talk to him to see how he's gonna handle his VOTEC students during that first part and the second part to do that. And since there's 2 of us, there could be 2 of us, then we could both probably try and work something out
Right.
some way.
And what we always try to do is try to get each school missing close to the same amount of days. So we could probably work on some adjustment here too. That's why we didn't adopt anything, waiting to get input back from everybody.
Okay.
So,
Give the early go a try, I suppose. See how it works
Yeah, we'll
out.
put both those together on the sheets like that and.
but I'll
bring it
talk to
back.
Derek too and say, we're looking at this one, so he can maybe look at some adjustments on vocational.
I think Deb does. I think she put it together, and just put the days, I think she did. And then just, before we go to the next 2, that storm day reimbursement, what are we doing with bus drivers? Because we're paying, for the days that we're not in session for storms, we're paying the 9 and 12 months. What are we doing with bus drivers?
I assume that to be, when we said 9 month, or everybody would be
Okay.
included.
Well, we just wanted to make clarification, because Lindsay asked, and I said we'd have to double check, make sure that's what it was.
So we're now paying everybody for not working? Is that what
We
happens
are.
on snow days? No?
We are.
We are.
Yep.
And
then
Lindsay
that'll-
had some figures for what that costs us.
The total for the hourly staff and bus drivers is $2,700 a day. The bus drivers are just over $900 more.
It helps us keep bus drivers.
Well, that's the problem.
Right, exactly.
And that's what we talked about as we go through to relook at that, how much we're gonna use, and that talks into
Yep.
storm days as we're going ahead.
Yep.
because I know a lot of these other schools, when we talked about there, they all got flex time, but they're all looking to at least make up something.
Yep. Yeah, we got that from, out at, when we were at the negotiation seminar too. Even though they have the flex days, they're still making up all the days, no matter what. So, and we visited about it, and if we're not gonna use our flex time, then let's get rid of it. Let's go back to our regular day then. If we're not gonna flex any days, let's make them up and drop our schedule back to where it was, and
Where like a lot of them are doing, they're saying we're gonna make up 2, or pick something, you know, some of these, that, from the vocational meeting is saying, we're gonna make up maybe 2, and then the rest are gonna flex, or
How
whatever.
can you say that? Because if you have storm days in April, are those schools still going to make up 2
No,
days?
they said they're gonna make up as much as they can
Much as they can
without going
over
into
your
Saturdays or, and so if you have a weak storm in April and you don't have any days left at the end of the year, those would get flexed. But any other days during the year, if we have a storm in October again, we'd have to make it up the first part of January or
So
whatever.
should we add that to our admin meeting?
Yep, so we can.
We wouldn't. During 9 months, we wouldn't get to make up that day.
They would get to make up that day, yes.
So then that would be, that they would not, then they would not receive
They
pay
wouldn't
for
receive,
that.
yeah.
For
Right,
the
but
day that
we'd
we're
be
gone,
making
they
it
would
up.
be able to make it up if we did
Yeah,
that,
but
yes.
with either one, it's still the same amount.
Yep.
You know, whether you're paying them not to work or making it up, that cost is still gonna be the same either way. No, I think, you know, looking at it, this being the first year, and, cause I talked to them after they sent out the guidance for scheduling, you know, that it's just a lot of people are worried about losing the hours and it reverting back to the days as a result of abuse, of schools abusing that.
Seriously, yes.
That if we're truly just doing it on storm makeup days, I don't think we have anything to worry about. You know, and she even said, you know, that if that's the only reason why you're doing it, then yes, that's why it was intended. That's what it was intended for.
That was the intention.
Is for the storm days to not have to be approved or made up. That's why I put the school day the way it is, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. Because our area is so large that we're playing phone tag and, well, should we, shouldn't we? And
It's
it was
fine
worse
there, it's
last
bad here.
year and the year before that, because, okay, if we do, we're gonna have to make it up, where are we gonna make it up at? Now we don't have to worry about it. We can make that decision and that's not impacting that, no, it's a 50-50 toss-up, it could be bad, it couldn't be bad, and we don't have to worry about it.
But if you have the flex time, could you, instead of making that call first thing in the morning, could you do like a 2-hour late?
Yeah.
And then you've got that flex time that you never have to make up.
Gets
And
them out
then-
in the
and you
daylight.
still
I
have
mean,
a-
that's the intent of, I mean, that's not the thing.
And we could, and with the last one, with the no travel advised, we,
Oh, I know.
Yep.
You
like,
can't really win, I know.
and we were the last Class B school in the area to call off
Yeah.
school. Like, I definitely don't think that we've abused it as far as snow.
What she's saying is you could have,
Yeah, we could have been like, okay,
was-
2-hour late
We
start,
could've done it
wait
Valley
for.
Day.
Yeah.
Valley City
Yeah.
called and went 2 hours late,
Yeah.
and then
And
an
then they
hour later
changed
called
it.
and said no school.
Yeah.
It's funny because it got nice at our place, and so our part of Barnes County North, you could have driven your buses. That day.
Yeah.
Pretty much
In
nice
2 hours,
everywhere.
yeah.
But then we also have to consider like the wind chill that day
Oh,
too.
no,
Like
totally
if
do.
something were to happen,
Yep,
I don't know. I
Well,
did
they-
not
and
sleep. I
then-
was texting at 3 a.m. trying to.
someone else could have slept in.
'Cause-
Only other thing they talked about there was the abuse part, or
Yeah.
to, their, and guidelines was to do what you have in your school calendar. Well, all of us last year had storm day makeups in your calendar. So, and that's what got turned to the state. So that's where a lot of the administrators are talking, you're supposed to abide by what your school calendar is. And we had 3 storm days listed on our calendar. And we didn't take any of them, or we're not going to take any of them. So that's why I say when we move forward, are we gonna list some storm days, not list some storm days? Some schools are taking 2. That's where some of this is, and that's where they're looking at, did they abuse them or not? So when they get to them, they say, what did your board approve? Well, what we approved was our school calendar, and what was listed on that was 3 storm day pickups.
So can we talk about it at our admin meeting and
Yes.
pitch something?
That are some things we want to talk about going ahead, but that was some of the discussion, talking to administrators and some of the other ones there, because they kept saying, what did your what is approved at your school?
Talking to
What
some
calendar
class-
did you approve?
Talking to some class, and I don't know about the calendars either, but like most rural K-12 schools go from 8:30 to 3:30, and most bigger schools have a shortened day.
Correct.
So they also talked about, I don't think you should have to make it up because you have that extra time automatically built into the 175 contact days.
Yep.
So,
Well, a lot of them said, right, Mr. Steve, the ones that they talked about, they really have thought about making up something that you've done, knowing that they don't have to. But they're still saying you gotta go back to your taxpayers. You're basically, how'd they explain that out there? You don't think you're in childcare, but you are. Because it's still a burden on your community of, them
If you
days.
start cutting her back too many days,
That's what
you're
they're
gonna
worried.
get into trouble. Don't abuse it, keep
Yeah,
it
like-
Don't
towards
start
the
cutting so
100
many back out that we're gonna get into the childcare, then your community's gonna be asking you, why ain't you making some up?
Well, and the legislature will undo it, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
they'll
quite
take it
frankly.
away, 180 days basically is where you should be.
I
That's
guess-
just a thought you guys can take back.
And then your thoughts on across the board is like, we got a large percentage of kids, Valley City, Jamestown. So what is the feeling that, like, on this last one, Jamestown canceled all rural routes for rural
Right.
students? So if that's the case, and say Valley City does the same thing, can we even have school?
No.
No, we canceled all our rural routes too then.
No, that's what I'm saying. If that comes down, then we can't if you can't travel into, Jamestown, is it a realistic expectation for us to put on our people to have to make that
No,
drive?
I think you rely on safety for the kids. We got flex time, it's just the discussion, do we wanna make up, say we mix 6 or will we pick up 2, or do we wanna make up anything? We wanna be on safety and we're probably gonna lean more towards that.
Yeah, no, I'm just
So-
talking about when the overall discussion is going forth and Mr. Severs takes part in that, and when it's going, okay, we're gonna cancel the rural routes, say, okay, if you guys are canceling those, we basically gotta cancel school then. That
Yeah.
pretty much makes that decision for us, and that's how it
I
goes.
think
That's
it-
what I'm saying, that's what I'm asking for clarification to see if, yes, that's the decision that we make, that if they're gonna cancel rural bus routes, yeah, obviously, we're not.
Well, I think if they say no travel advised, quite obviously, no staff should be white knuckling it to work.
No.
I think it's ridiculous, and we don't send kids out on the bus. But there are school districts that do, I just would hope that we're not one of them.
Yeah, and that's why, with the days to hours, that, that it takes that, because there were a couple times last year where we had school and then we ended up having to do an early release
Yep.
because the weather got bad,
Yeah.
and those are the kind of things that this helps alleviate us
Oh,
from
absolutely.
having to do.
I think that's what it's meant to do. It's-
I think that as a parent and as a person that leaves early in the morning if I have to go to work, it's important to get those calls out the night before, because childcare, to try to figure out what they're, because a lot of places don't, my employer will say, if the roads are bad, just don't come in. But there's a lot of places that say, I don't care, you're coming in because you need to be in. So for those parents that have to set up childcare or figure something out, an hour before they're leaving for work, they're getting a call saying no school today. If you even push back 2 hours, just because you don't know what it's like, as a bus driver, you can't see those gravel roads. You can't tell the ditch between the road and the ditch
So Mike,
in the dark.
so we know what to talk about in our admin meeting. Is this year the year in question because our calendar says storm makeup days?
That was one of the questions that
So
came up.
moving forward, if we just leave storm makeup days off our calendar, it won't be an issue.
Our question is, do we wanna make up any days?
Right,
at
this
all?
year.
No,
Going
moving
forward.
forward. We
Okay.
can't change what's in on this year's calendar.
Right,
It's just gonna be
Okay.
how they look at it, they're gonna say, hey, you guys had storm days listed.
okay. We'll probably
We
not-
can't change what's in there right now, no. Well, I'm looking as we're building this next year's calendar.
I guess I'd be honest, I think it would depend upon how many storm days we were
And when they
making up.
occur.
No, but, okay, so if there are 3 storm days that happen, I say don't make them up, but if all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
year where my son couldn't get to school every Wednesday during that winter, that horrible one. And I can't even, and it's, yeah, okay.
I remember
And
that.
Because we're still gonna have
If you miss 10
to.
days, you can't,
Yeah.
10 days is too much to say, okay, we forgive 10 days. I think kids, to me, that's too many. So do I know what the magical number is like what's acceptable and what's not? No. But I do think there's a.
Because if you get up to, like, we've got all this days in the flexibility, will it still match them hours if you had all them days not made up? I don't know, I'm asking the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Elementary's got like 30.
Elementary's got plenty.
We
You
can
know,
take
and
every
we've
Friday off the
got-
whole
We've
year.
got a little over 19 at the high school.
Right, but if we had 19
That would
off,
be
will
the
that still
abuse
get
of
our
time.
hours in?
Yes.
With, if we didn't have a late start or anything else in
If
there?
we didn't have late start or anything like that, we would end up with just a little over 1,050 hours.
Okay.
Which is what the bare
Bare
minimum
minimum is.
requirement is. We would still we would be there.
I think I think Lori's hit it, is kind of, how many days would you take off? Because at some point, you're gonna hear that, well, God, we should make something up, you know?
Well, I'm confused why why you have to make them up if you got enough time in.
You don't have to.
Well, here's the thing though.
But why?
As a teacher, you don't plan on working 1,050 hours.
You gotta listen.
You're
to
working on days.
Yeah.
You got class periods. You're going to cut you're going to cut 19 class periods out of your day or out of your year if you miss all those days. You're going to miss a lot of your instruction because you're not sitting there looking at the clock saying, I got 30 minutes to talk about this, I got 30 minutes to talk about that. You're talking about periods, you're talking about days. So
We'll discuss a number.
yeah, I mean, I say come up with your thoughts but saying that we don't have to make up anything is a little.
It was suggested out there, they said at our meeting too, that if somebody started looking at that and say, hey, we got like 18 days, we'll chop that out. That's not what it was intended for, and they will take it away.
What did
That's-
they said one district, they looked at it and they could start the first part of September and be done in the middle of March.
If they went to,
If they use
if
just
they went to
flex
8 to
hours.
4 something or something
Yeah.
like that. Get
Of
down
8
to
to 4.
156, yeah.
Yep.
And they go, no, we're not gonna approve that.
Is there?
Because we had a DPI guy there that was talking about these plans, yeah. They said, you just don't want to abuse it, so it's taken away. You've got a good deal going right now. Don't abuse it.
Well, we should just put those 2 October days off in our calendar because we're 2 for 2 out of years.
Yeah.
No, that's legit, actually. You should take it off and then it won't snow. So
That's exactly, yeah.
Basically, what came from the discussion of the schools that were there was they're probably going to look at the most, they would make up a couple days and put them into their calendar.
Couple days.
Well, Litchfield's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in there. They're making them up. They probably don't have as much flex time. I don't know what they've got. Valley, which they've got flex time, they're going to put in theirs. We're going to make up 2 and then allow us to do some more professional development like everybody wants. For some days, maybe get some early outs, late starts, do more professional development. Because everybody needs some professional development. They're looking at that.
should we be cutting back on the amount of flex time we have in the day?
I mean, we
because like
don't really
homeroom-
have, we have some, our class periods will stay the length that
Yeah,
they
they
are
have,
to
right.
meet that requirement. Then it's that 20-minute
Right.
homeroom.
Yep.
But we utilize that, and that's the time that we meet for our mentoring. So if we eliminate that, then what are we gonna do those things?
Could that be cut down to 10 minutes?
Not enough time.
Could that go to the end of the day? Because now you got vocational kids coming back in the middle. I'm just looking at, that thing jumped out, because you got them coming back middle of the day with that, I don't know how it structures for you, but would that flex time be better, or that homeroom be better at the end of the day?
The issue is how fourth period ends.
Yeah.
Because you have to have those first 4 periods for the VOTEC kids.
Yeah.
And the time that they have to leave in order to get there before it. So I tried putting it at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, and the time where it's at is a place where it fit the best with impacting the fewest people in a negative way.
15 minutes? I mean, if we have that much flex time, which to me, if there would just be some way to make that less each day, but even 5 minutes would be, you still, 15 minutes isn't enough? Or does that just screw up the whole calendar all the way, or the
Well,
schedule?
first we have to decide, are we gonna do flex time or are we not? That's the first thing that we're gonna have to
We need some flex time.
decide.
And I think you need
on
some
that.
flex on this.
I think there's not an argument, we need some flex time. Because we
Question
want
is,
that
do we have
option
to-
of being able to take late starts for storms and days. We want some flex time. Anybody against, I mean, I think
Yeah,
we
'cause
do
it
want flex
only,
time.
the school day only increased in length 17 minutes. Everything else is the same. The class periods got increased as a result of the enterprise time, which was 40 minutes, then that got cut down, and then we extended the day 10 minutes, and then we began the day 10 minutes earlier and extended 7 minutes later. So the school day only actually grew 17 minutes.
Did that help you at all? Do you know what we want?
Huh?
We don't know what we want. Do you know what we want?
Should we
Yeah, we
meet
just want
and
left
pitch
alone,
something
move
and
on.
see if you guys agree at the March meeting?
I'll say yes, even though
We'll
it's
pick a
not-
number of how many days that we could allow without making up,
Is that okay with you?
or with
Mike?
making up, and then we'll pitch it in March.
Yeah, because you're gonna come back with a calendar that's
Yes.
gonna show
Because
some of
Ms.
that, yeah.
Yes.
Velocity would like that.
So does it have to be on the calendar if you're gonna be making days up?
Yeah, we
It should
don't,
be, so you know that these are makeup days, yes.
I was picking on Mike, not you.
I'm with you. I say just leave nothing on there.
If you're
and then
gonna
we-
take some, you should list
Well, I mean, if
days.
it's not,
You wanna list them, if you're gonna have.
If you're
some
gonna
that
take 'em,
make
you
it,
wanna list 'em.
You wanna list it so that parents and everybody knows that if school cancel,
They still
we're
plan
having
stuff.
school on this day, so we won't have it
oh,
all.
it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're gonna have some, we wanna list it, yeah. Okay, so you'll bring back a proposal.
Yep. You used to just go all the way through and you got them off in the spring if you didn't need
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
Well, that's the other part too, is to think of when is the cutoff time for making them up. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm completely against adding them to the end of the school year.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the most worthless additions to the school calendar that there is. Okay, if,
There you are.
I know last year we were scheduled to get out on a Wednesday, we got out on Friday. Those were the two longest days, because everybody's going, we shouldn't be here, why are we here? And they're just not productive. So if we move them up to, February, March, and we're able to do them during that time, they'll be productive. But if we get to the point where we have to do it at the end of the school year, just might as well not do it.
No, I agree with
Yeah.
that. I think if they're getting later and you can't make any up without using, we don't wanna use them days, like you say. You get to a point in the year where you can't make them up, they're flex time. I mean, that's,
Well, and think of it this way, like Mrs. Blessy was saying, that
Thank you.
your October storms, that's taking away first semester out. So if you could have one makeup day
In the
the
first
first
You
semester,
Can't.
you can't?
Nope. That's the other bad thing, that if you lose those, you gotta make those days up in the second semester.
Yep, you
Just
can't
because
make
of
anything
the
up.
mandatory holidays and stuff like that, or?
I don't know what it was. The first year that we did it, we made up one right before Christmas.
Yeah.
And the next year, they said no more. It has to be after Christmas. It has to be in the second semester.
Huh.
Okay, then explain to me again why you think we need snow days in the calendar.
I don't,
If
I
we
never said
have-
we
if
do,
we-
I said if we wanna take them, we
Oh,
gotta
okay.
list them. I don't say we need to have them.
Oh, okay.
I said if we're going to take them, we need to list them.
So just saying, like, after 6 days, these are the days that we made up.
Or the first 2 days, we're gonna make up these days and everything else is flex time.
Just flex time.
I
That's what a lot of
also
them are
have-
doing.
I also have a cutoff, so
Mhm.
if there's a snow day after this point, we won't
Then
make
we're gonna
that.
flex.
It's
Okay.
usually like March, that
Yeah,
last
you get into the
March.
mid to late March, we're not gonna make any up after that. I mean, pick a date, whatever.
Usually
that is.
Easter Monday.
Yeah.
That's usually your
Yeah.
last,
Yeah.
your last snow day.
Snow day would be Easter Monday.
Okay, I have those all down. Five bullet points we'll come back with.
Okay. Tuition-free agreement.
We have one from Griggs County for 2 students that have transferred. They're just looking to finish out the school year at a no tuition.
I make
No.
a motion. What?
Go ahead, Brett, go ahead and say it.
Okay.
Go say it.
Motion.
Okay, Brett made the motion. Good for you. I'll second it then.
Okay. Any other discussion? Not roll call.
Go ahead, Brett. You want to discuss it?
Rob.
Not discussion.
Yeah.
Chad?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes,
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Okay.
We're the
open
bigger
the-
school.
we're the bigger man.
Bigger school.
We're the bigger group.
We'll tell you after.
Leave it
Yeah,
at
I'll
that.
tell you afterwards.
I know we got two open enrollments, one for a student from Valley City, third grade, and one from, mother works at
he
BCN from
will-
Valley City, a seventh grader.
He will be a fourth grader when he
Yeah,
comes.
he's current grade, he's fourth grade, or third grade,
Yeah.
he'll be a fourth grader next year.
Are those some of those special?
Special, that needs extra.
Are you talking about my?
The one where the mother works at BCN.
I'll make a motion.
If you get that
to
house built, I won't have to
second
open it.
Second. Roll call. Lindsay.
Rob?
Yes.
Chad?
Yeah.
Lee?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes,
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Okay, 403B. I'll maybe turn on Lindsay, because we have to have some decisions made by the end of March.
So I got a notice from Horace Mann that they need a pre-approved 403B plan done by March 31st. And this is something that we've had 2.5 to 3 years to deal with, but no one knew about it. So the last thing I can find that's been done was from 2009. And I confirmed with Horace Mann that that's the last thing that we've had, or that they've had from us. And the reason it was probably 2009 is because that was the last time the IRS had like requirements, and now they have requirements again, and they've allowed 3 years to meet those. But in talking to a variety of people, the only people that really can help you with it is a third-party company. And so Horace Mann recommended a company called Admin Partners, and a couple other schools on the listserv said they've used those also. But most of the people on the listserv that got back to me are basically where we are, and trying to find someone. So I talked to Greg at Admin Partners this afternoon, and he has not gotten me an official proposal yet. But there's basically 3 levels of service that they provide. The lowest level is a silver model, and that one is a $600 one-time cost to prepare this document by March 31st. And then after that, it's $400 per year, and that maintains compliance for us going forward. But everything else would be up to us to like sign compliant documents and things. The gold model is a $1,080 one-time cost, and then it would be $600 annually to keep that one up. And they do more record keeping, and they would sign compliance documents and things then. And then there's also a platinum level, which is the $1,080 one-time fee plus $700 per year. And he did not really say what made that better than the gold policy. Yeah, so that's what I know right now. I haven't gotten any like official documents from him. He said that he would need to know in the next week or so to be able to get this prepared by the end of March if we want to use them.
So what's a 403B?
The retirement plan for like the hourly people, and some of the teachers participate on their own accord too.
So you're gonna look at some other options, so we can, but what do we?
I guess.
We gotta get this done before next meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I put it on here for now.
And the only other option that I've come across was someone else on the listserv had said, it was an educator's something, but I looked at it briefly, and they look like they provide like a ton of services, like flexible spending and all kinds of things that we already have service providers for. This particular company, they do not offer any products, like they don't offer a 403B, they're just strictly compliance service. And we do get a discount of 20%, because we work with Horace Mann, so their original cost on the silver level is $750, and we would get it for $600.
Well, I think if we don't find something better, we could go with the silver. We need it before the next meeting, right?
So I think what we could do is, you wanna do a little more research on it.
I would, yeah,
So
I would
like
like to get the official,
I-
quote from him.
Yeah, I think what we gotta do is make a motion to approve up to a certain amount of dollars and let those guys do some research on it and see what's the best fit. You know. So what is the top end of whatever you got?
The top end would be 1,080 billed one time, and then $700 annually.
So I guess my thought is to let them research it, but have a max of that top to see where we can work.
I
what-
thought the top one was 1,800 in the gold.
Nope, the top one is 1,080, their one-time fee is the same, it's just the annual fee is 600 or 700.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that they should approve that for top number of 1,080.
Up to that amount.
Yep, up to that, and then $700 yearly.
When you find out if it's worth it or not, you
Yeah.
decide which
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
That way gives you some options to look at it, and
Okay.
then you can move forward. Is there a second
I
to,
I'll second it.
by Rob?
I guess if you find something really strange comes up, just call a special or
Yeah.
something.
okay.
Okay. Any other discussion there? No other questions? Okay, Lindsay, roll call.
Rob?
Yes.
Chad?
Yeah.
Lee?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Lori?
Yep.
Brent?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Okay, that's approved. Any correspondence or board discussion anybody has? And so then I'll get the evaluation sent out, and if I can get her back, we're gonna meet the 11th, so if I get her back 5 days or so before that, give me time to put together, because I gotta put two together, that's the only conflict I got doing for vocational and here, so I'm doing two of them, so I want a little bit of time, type slow. So next meeting is the 11th.
You gonna send them out right this time?
I'll send them different ways to you. I don't know which one works best for you.
Oh, remember.
Share your
I'll have to
pigeon.
call Melissa and
Discuss
figure it out.
CTE.
Okay.
No makeup days.
Nothing else, we're adjourned.
Is there anything for admin meeting? I remember there was another thing that I sent you.
Hey,
Calendars and snow days, wasn't it? I mean, that was.
Yeah, we adjourned.